Okay, again, so yeah, part two, going into the slot again. You know, Fatiha is obviously important for us all. Hopefully we memorize that, and another surah, inshallah, and we are hopefully completing our mandatory salats throughout the day, 5 times a day, and you know, do your best to complete that and do it on time. Again, a long time ago, I read off a hadith that talked about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He said there's 3 things you should never postpone as Muslims. We should never, it's not acceptable to postpone. And one of those things were the salat. So this means you should do your salat as soon as you can, on time, within the time period you have to complete it, right? You know, and there's some exceptions to that. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that later. But first, let's talk about completing the salat and the time period you have. So, you know, initially, you know, there's this idea that you have to pray your salat exactly on the time the prayer that so for like when Fajr is called, you have to pray the Fajr. You're supposed to pray it as soon as Fajr is called. You're supposed to pray Dhuhr as soon as the Dhuhr is called. You're supposed to pray Asr and Isha and Maghrib as soon as they call it. There's some idea out there about that, which is kind of good because you should do it as soon as possible. That's recommended, actually. But you actually do have some leeway in terms of what time period you have to do to complete it. And then some people, you know, say things like you got like 10-minute period, grace period, and all that stuff. But you know, I'm gonna tell y'all what the exact actual truth is, because actually in the Quran there's no specific time periods where it's mentioned what time of the day you're supposed to do that and how long you have to do it exactly in terms of the time. What's talked about is like it's all based off of the location of the sunset and sunrise, basically where the sun is that's how the Quran describes the time. So based off of that, this is how we come up with the times. And so therefore there's a time period in which we have to complete the salat. So really, for example, for Fajr, you have till the call, you have the time of Fajr when it's called. So whatever time, usually that's around between 6 and 7 a.m., somewhere between that time, usually throughout the year. And you have until sunrise to complete it. So you have to complete it in between that time period of when Fajr is called and sunrise in order for it to be accepted. And for Dhuhr, for Dhuhr, for Asr, for Maghrib, basically for those 3, I would say, you have until the next salat, the call for prayer is. So for Dhuhr, you have from where Dhuhr is called all the way until Asr. And for Asr, you have from Asr until Maghrib to pray Asr, basically. So, you know, that's the time period. And for Isha, you have until midnight, so 12 a.m. That's the time periods for all the salats you have to complete it. So it's best to do it as soon as possible, but, you know, you have